It is September 8th, and that is the perfect time for us to discuss
what 10 movies we are most looking forward to for the rest of the year.
Sure. So here's our list.
Number 10, Sofia Coppola's Priscilla. If you'll recall, last year there was a big hit called Elvis. Wonderful movie. I guess Sofia Coppola watched that and she was like, Priscilla Presley is barely a character in this. And so this is the story from Priscilla Presley's point of view, starring Kaylee Spaney, who was murdered in the first episode of My Beloved Mare of Easttown, and Jacob Elordi, who is the monstrous Nate Jacobs on My Beloved Euphoria. He plays Elvis. I've heard great things about this movie. It premiered at the Venice Film Festival last week. I heard that this is a return to form for Sofia Coppola. Here it's her best movie since Lost in Translation. The trailer is like 50 seconds, and I loved all 50 of them.
Yeah, more trailers like that. We know we're going to see the movie. It's a Sofia Coppola movie about Elvis and Priscilla.
Priscilla, what about boys at school? Must be some handsome ones.
Number 9 is Ferrari. This is the new Michael Mann movie about the guy named Ferrari. You know, that one with the cars and the such. It stars one of my favorite actors working right now, probably my favorite, Adam Driver, and he also plays an Italian in this movie, much like he did in House of Gucci, another movie which I enjoyed. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him do that basically again, kind of, but in a different way. Really hoping that Michael Mann comes back with another like really good movie. Looking forward to it.
Me too. It's really the Michael Mann of it all. I'm excited. I've heard he's crafted some really exquisite racing sequences in this movie. And I've heard Adam Driver is good, but I've heard Penelope Cruz is remarkable. I'm so excited.
If you get into one of my cars, you get in the win.
Number 8, Alexander Payne's The Holdovers. Now, Alexander Payne is our guy. The Holdovers is him playing it safe. Could be a flaw, but I think it looks like a really interesting homage to Hal Ashby. He's really making a 1970s movie. I imagine that was his attraction to the material. He didn't write this one, but he also didn't write Nebraska, and that movie is great. This stars Paul Giamatti and Divine Joy Randolph. It takes place at this school over the course of like Thanksgiving or Christmas, pretty much about the students who don't have a home to go to. And Paul Giamatti plays this curmudgeonly professor who develops a heart or something. I've heard good/great things, and it's Alexander Payne reuniting with Paul Giamatti, who they worked wonders together with Sideways nearly 20 years ago.
Very much looking forward to seeing another movie by him because you don't get one every year.
The Holdovers.
Number 7 on our list is Napoleon. This movie is about Napoleon Bonaparte. I'm very excited to see this movie because it seems like it's something we should have had by now. The movie about Napoleon, because even if you don't care about history, you know who this guy is relatively in some way. And I don't know anything about him other than those basic things, but I'm still looking forward to it because it's going to be a big Ridley Scott epic, hopefully. And Joaquin Phoenix plays Napoleon Bonaparte, so you can only imagine what kind of performance we get out of that. I think The Last Duel was really good and underrated, and this kind of will have aesthetic vibe, maybe similar to that, about this really interesting person starring this absolutely psycho actor who happens to be very good and talented.
I can literally hear your eyes rolling.
Is the historical epic back? Think about Oppenheimer. Think about this. Think about one that is to be discussed later on.
I don't know that this movie's going to make that kind of money.
I don't
Obviously,
either.
it's obviously not going to make that kind of money, but maybe it makes a decent chunk considering there's not super a lot of blockbusters.
I want this movie to be good with every fiber of my being. I love that Ridley Scott has so much power that they can let him make stuff like this.
What is your name?
Napoleon.
Has the course of my life just changed?
Number 6, May, December. Hear me out. This is a film directed by Todd Haynes, starring Natalie Portman and Julianne Moore. And that is all I need.
If you have met Christian at any point in your life, that sentence would indicate that he was very excited for the movie, regardless of the outcome or what the plot was or anything.
I think about you all the time.
I am very well aware that like once a year I see a movie where I'm like, I love this more than anyone else. May December will be that movie this year. Natalie Portman plays an actress who is starring in a movie about a somewhat turbulent romantic scandal that happened years prior. She is getting to know the couple that the movie is about in order to prepare for the role. This story, from what I've heard, is inspired by the Mary Kay Letourneau case. I've heard it is campy, kind of over the top. I know I will love it. I cannot wait. Really, I need it.
Number 5, The Creator. This is a Gareth Edwards movie, directed Rogue One, the new Godzilla, and Monsters. It's a big sci-fi movie, and when those work, I think they really work and are some of my favorite movies ever. This movie kind of deals with AI in the future, very much in the future, to the point where they have robots that blend in with people, that kind of thing that you've seen before. This movie stars John David Washington, who I think is fantastic. This is the kind of movie that I think could easily be in the top 5 of the year for me, or it could also easily be in the bottom 5 of the year for me.
Yeah.
It's one of those, and that's interesting to me, but I'm very hopeful that it's on the good side. Really think it's been a minute maybe since we've had an original sci-fi movie like this that hopefully works. I hope this isn't a complete disaster, because then I will feel sort of silly being excited for it and recommending you all check it out.
It could be like top shelf Denis Villeneuve, or it could be bottom shelf Neil Blomkamp. I don't know.
Let's hope it's good.
Are you going to heaven?
You gotta be a good person to go to heaven.
We're the same. We can't go to heaven because you're not good and I'm not a person.
Number 4 is Bradley Cooper's Maestro. Bradley Cooper's directorial follow-up to A Star is Born tells the story of Leonard Bernstein and his marriage and his life and his career. I think the response to this movie has been mostly really positive. And I know there's been some stupid controversy surrounding it. I don't want to get involved in that. I'd be happy to see him get a 10th nomination.
This is kind of interesting because it's about Leonard Bernstein. And then last year we had Tar, and her big role model was Leonard Bernstein in the movie. So it is kind of interesting that this comes a year after we have a big conductor movie back-to-back years, which is not necessarily commonplace.
It is not. Yeah. I think he's a really talented filmmaker and actor and writer and producer, and he's doing all those things. I love that, and I love him.
So how long do we have to do this for?
Well, we need to build up a very strong connection.
Number 3 is The Killer. This is a David Fincher movie starring Michael Fassbender as the Killer. This is, I believe, a graphic novel adaptation. I'm very interested in this movie based on the filmmaker and seeing Michael Fassbender kind of get back into it after being sort of retired. This movie sounds like it's a very intense genre movie.
It looks very stylish. His movies are exquisitely well crafted, and this one looks like that as well.
Stick to the plan. Fight only the battle you're paid to fight. Ask yourself, what's in it for me?
Number 2, Yorgos Lanthimos' Poor Things. I saw this trailer, and I thought, but I knew I really wanted to see it. I'm very in the pocket for Yorgos Lanthimos' weird shit. Very delighted to see the pretty rapturous response that this movie has gotten so far. It had the highest approval rating of any of the festival releases so far. I just would not have seen that coming from that trailer. Emma Stone, I guess, plays a dead woman who is brought back to life. And from what I hear, she just starts having a lot of sex. Apparently this is an A+ movie. I hear it's her best performance. I hear she is the front runner for the Oscar. It looks like a visual feast.
I'm a massive Emma Stone fan, and I've been that way since day one, much like every other human male that's existed in that time frame. And Mark Ruffalo also apparently is really good in it. Kind of nice to see him return to acting. Seems like he potentially could be battling out for Best Supporting Actor Oscar with Robert Downey Jr., who did a similar thing this year with Oppenheimer. So that's a cool narrative, and we love a cool narrative during silly, goofy Oscar season. Hopefully this movie is awesome, and I like it, but I could see some trepidation. People could have some issues if they, for some reason, stumble into the theater for this one.
There is a world to enjoy, circumnavigate. It is the goal of all to progress, grow.
So I'm very much looking forward to that aspect of it. And then our number one most anticipated movie for the rest of the year post September 8th. To no one's surprise, Killers of the Flower Moon. This is number one on, I assume, many people's lists, and it's for a lot of good reasons. Martin Scorsese, who knows how many more movies he gets to make. I am there for every one of them. It's Leonardo DiCaprio starring again in one of his movies, and it's also Robert De Niro. Basically, those two big collaborators of Martin Scorsese are together in this movie. And Lily Gladstone, I have heard, gives a fantastic performance. It's kind of like a Western Native American story. I don't know what this story exactly is because I've been trying to avoid spoilers. I know there's a very good book about it, but I did not read into anything about that because I knew I was going to see this movie day one. And I was going to be very excited for it. Jesse Plemons looks fantastic in the trailer.
I was sent down from Washington, D.C. to see about these murders.
See what about him?
See who's doing it.
I would be super surprised if this does not finish as my number one movie at the end of the year. And it's kind of silly to pick your number one movie before you've even seen it. But if it isn't, I'll let you know.
We can't forget that Oppenheimer is on the table.
Yeah, Oppenheimer is very, very good, and it is currently my number one.
We're all kind of secretly like, this is the most anticipated movie the rest of the year, right? This is the one. It premiered at Cannes to great reviews. This movie's going to be incredible. I can't wait. I don't know if this is going to be a big hit. I think having DiCaprio on your side is enough to make a bit of profit. Yeah. I'm sure it's a really expensive movie.
I do love that money, sir.
But like, we're up against something really special. I know that much.
We're still warriors.
So that's our list. I'm sure some of these are on your list. Maybe some of them weren't, and you got to learn about them from watching this. If we didn't mention something that you're highly anticipating, leave it in the comments below. I'm sure we're looking forward to it. It's just not on our list, but maybe we don't know about it, and I learned about it from looking at your comments. So that would be helpful too. If there's any videos like this sort of a thing that you want to see us do, let us know in the comments, and we will potentially do that the next time we get together and film. That's how we do this channel. It's super serious like that.
Sure.
And we talk about movies, which, as you know, no one does on YouTube. So you're welcome.